Welcome back to World of Immersion. Today we're going to be talking about Fright Fest at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the park's Halloween haunt event for this season. Now before we start today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have a ton of content coming out in the next few weeks, so you do not want to miss these next videos. But with that being said, let's get right into the video. Now, Fright Fest has always been one of my favorite Halloween haunts. I have gone to Fright Fest more times than I have any other haunt event because Magic Mountain is my home park and I go so often. I've been going to Fright Fest for so many years and I have to say this year was super disappointing. This is probably the most disappointed I've ever been in a Halloween haunt before. Now let's start off with the cost of admission. Now if you're a season pass holder, it's not actually that expensive to go. So how Fright Fest works is the park never closes, so if you have a ticket or a season pass to the park, you can get in for free. However, in order to experience the mazes, you need a haunted attractions pass, which is only $25, so it's not actually a bad deal. However, if you do not have a ticket and you want to go experience the haunted attractions and the mazes, Fright Fest is going to cost you $120 with that ticket plus the haunted attractions pass. That is so much more than every other haunt event in Southern California. You compare that to prices at Halloween Horror Nights, with even the most expensive days being no more than $99. So this is almost $20 more than the most expensive night for Halloween Horror Nights. Similarly, it's so much more expensive than Not Scary Farm, which is a similar cost to Halloween Horror Nights. And Fright Fest is significantly worse. Now, like I said, if you're a season pass holder or a member, it's not that expensive. You just need to pay $25 for a haunted attractions pass. But that being said, let's talk about the experience you have when you're actually there and why I still think it's not even worth it just to spend that $25 on a haunted attractions pass. Now we went this past weekend and the park was relatively empty, which was a plus, but it was very surprising for it being opening weekend of the event. The event starts at 7 p.m. and at 7 p.m. they have this opening ceremony show over by Wonder Woman in the DC universe that is actually really fun. However, one thing I noticed about this show, as well as kind of the entire event, is it's so quiet. There's no music, there's no audio, there's really just nothing going on except for the scare actors screaming. Now before we move any further, I just want to preface this by saying that the scare actors are doing a fantastic job with what they're given. They're by far doing the best that they possibly can, and so none of the criticism in this video goes towards them. They are doing as much as they possibly can to make this event good. However, it just really was not that great for me this year. Going back to the opening ceremony though, it's about 5 minutes long and they just kind of circle around for a little bit and then eventually run out and scare you. Now this part is actually really fun. It's probably the part that I enjoyed the most about this event, is as soon as the ceremony is open, there are tons of scare actors walking around the area right by that scare zone. However, they eventually disperse throughout the park, and I have to say, the scare zones were really disappointing this year. The majority of the scare zones had at most 2 scare actors, and some of them even had no scare actors. We would just walk through them and it'd be completely silent with no scare actors at all. Really hard to even call that a scare zone. And then on top of that, there are supposed to be 6 mazes. There are 6 mazes advertised online and advertised on their Instagram and everywhere. However, out of those 6 mazes, one of them was not ready to open for opening weekend, that being their only new maze for the event this year. And then second, 2 of the other mazes were closed for no apparent reason. Now I will say towards the end of the evening it did start to rain a little bit, so that is a possible reason why some of them were closed later on, but it was definitely not raining for at least the first hour and a half of Fright Fest being open, and to have 3 out of the 6 of your mazes closed during the event is a little bit shocking to me. Now, like I said, I only paid $25 for this since I am a season pass holder to Fright Fest, so I was not that upset. However, I cannot imagine if you paid $120 to go experience Fright Fest and the haunted attractions there, to have half of the mazes closed. Additionally, almost all the restaurants were closed with maybe 25% of them open. Now, the one thing I will say is a great redeeming factor about Fright Fest is almost all of the rides are always open and have no waits, because the park was really empty. We really did not wait at all for anything, which was fantastic, but it is also disappointing to see the park so empty. One of the best things about Fright Fest is how there are so many people there all having fun together, and just to see the park so empty felt kind of sad. I remember last year the park felt so lively with tons of people in the mazes and in scare zones, and I just have such fond memories of Fright Fest, and this year just really didn't feel the same. Now I really do love Magic Mountain and I loved Fright Fest in the past, so it was just really sad for me to see it like this. I really hope next Fright Fest is a lot better, because this year was just so disappointing. I think this Fright Fest kind of goes along the general trend that Six Flags has been going on for the last couple of months, with the park getting more and more empty as the days go on, and the tickets just keep going up, as well as parking. This event is so expensive to visit if you're not a season pass holder, that $120 ticket plus food plus the $40 parking adds up so quickly, and it is just insane to me that they're charging this much for this event. I really wish they did something more similar to Scary Farm and Halloween Horror Nights, where it is a separately ticketed event, so they can do significantly cheaper tickets so that people that are not season pass holders are able to visit for the scare zones and the mazes. Overall, the best thing about Fright Fest is by far the rides. However, those are not even part of Fright Fest. Those are just the rides that are there during the day normally. So if you want to experience the rides, I'd recommend just getting a ticket and not getting that Haunted Attractions pass. Alright, now overall, let's go to the big question. Should you go to Fright Fest this year? And my answer is, it depends. If you are a season pass holder and you really love Fright Fest and mazes and stuff, it is still a decently fun event, and I would go and get that Haunted Attractions pass just so you can experience it, and hopefully you'll have a better experience with more than just 3 of the mazes open. However, this year I will not be returning to Fright Fest. It is not worth it for me to pay that extra $25 to go on mazes that I've already been on, with only one of them being new. And especially if you are not a season pass holder or a member, it is absolutely not worth it to spend that $120 to go to Fright Fest and get the Haunted Attractions pass. You're really paying $120 for 3 mazes and all the normal rides that are there during the day. Overall, Fright Fest is really overpriced, and it's not the same Fright Fest that I am used to. Like I said before, the scare actors are doing the best they can with what they're given, but in general, even the mazes were not as good as they were before. It felt like there were significantly less actors in all of the mazes, and the mazes, like the rest of the park, was just so quiet. There was no audio in any of the mazes at all, which is really disappointing after going straight from Horror Nights the night before to going to Fright Fest, where Horror Nights has some fantastic scares timed with audio, great soundtracks to mazes. Just to go to Fright Fest and have not the same thing is just really disappointing. Now, I know that this video has been a very negative video, and I think that really is just due to my experience I had at Magic Mountain for Fright Fest. I know that definitely my experience is different than what other people will experience, so be sure to check it out on your own if you are willing to spend that money. And comment down below if you've had a different experience at Fright Fest this year. I would love to hear if somebody else has had a different experience than mine, because maybe I just went on a really bad day. But for now, Fright Fest left a really bad taste in my mouth, and I'm very disappointed overall in what Magic Mountain offered this year for Fright Fest. Thank you so much for watching today's video, but before you go, be sure to check out this video of our first experiences and first reactions from all of the mazes and rides at Fright Fest from this past weekend. Thanks for watching World of Immersion today, and we will catch you in the next video.